What is up, everybody? Today in this video, I am going to do a quick basic video editing tutorial geared toward beginners in the new DaVinci Resolve 17 beta coming up after this. Howdy y'all, my name is Nelson. On this channel I do technology and photography based tips, tricks, and tutorials. I've got lots of awesome content coming up in the future, so if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Alright guys, I am going to show you how to do a basic video edit in DaVinci Resolve 17. They have just recently released the beta version. Now I am using the studio version here, which I previously had version 16, but the process I'm going to show you today should be the same for the free version as well. Just want to let you know that DaVinci Resolve always takes a little bit of time to load. All right, so you are going to be presented first with this project page. So the first thing you're going to want to do is come down here and click on New Project, and you can go ahead and name it whatever you would like, and go ahead and hit Create. Okay. I want you to take notice down here, this bar with icons on it: Media, Cut, Edit, Fusion, Color, Fairlight, and Deliver. When you first open this program up, you're going to be presented with this Cut page. Now, I know a lot of people that use this Cut feature, but I'm more traditional in the sense that I like to edit right on the timeline with my clips. So the first thing I'm going to have you do is go ahead and come down here and left-click on Edit. Now, down here is the timeline, and this is where we're going to do our editing. Over here, this is the media pool, and this is where we're going to import our media. But the first thing I'm going to have you do is actually click up here to where it says File, and we're going to come down here to Project Settings. And right here, under Timeline Format, this is where we're going to select our resolution and our frame rate. So if you are editing 1080p video, you go ahead and leave this here, but if you're editing 4K, you can drop this down here to where it says 3840 by 2160, which is 4K, and then also go ahead and select what the frame rate of your video is. So I'm going to leave mine on 24 and mine on 1080p. For the sake of this video, since this is going to be a very basic edit, I'm going to leave all of this stuff alone. After you've made your selection there in the project settings, come back up here to the media pool. And there's going to be a couple of ways that you can import media into the media pool. One of them being, if you click File and then come down here to Import, you can select Media, or you can hit Control-I. But what I like to do is I like to right-click in a blank area right here and go ahead and select Import Media that way. Now go ahead and navigate to the folder where your video files are. I'm going to import these 4 ocean beach clips into mine, so you can go ahead and select all by hitting Control-A or by holding the left mouse and dragging over. And then go ahead and click Open. Now, I left my frame rate under my project settings at 24 frames per second, but these clips are actually 30 frames per second. And so this dialog box has popped up letting us know that the frame rate on the timeline is actually different than the frame rate of the clips that I imported. You can either leave it at the 24 frames a second that we left our project setting on, or in this case, I'm going to go ahead and actually change the timeline settings to match the frame rate of the videos, and I'm going to click Change. And so now you'll see our 4 videos are up here. Now, what's cool about this is if you just highlight the mouse over the video, you can scrub through the video like this, kind of see what's in those clips. Now, you can drag these down individually right onto the timeline by left mouse clicking and dragging, or you can actually select all of the clips at once if you'd like, and then left mouse click and drag down to the timeline and then let go. Okay, over here is the zoom feature for the timeline. So if you hit the minus sign here, it's going to zoom the timeline way out, and then vice versa. It's going to zoom way in if you hit the plus sign. Down here, you've got this little bar that you can drag to go through the timeline. And I want you to take note of a couple of things here. So you have this little magnet icon, and it is highlighted in white, and you have this little chain link here. Now, when this is clicked and selected, it actually makes the clips magnetic. So let's come all the way here to the end of the timeline. And I'm going to left click and I'm going to drag this clip away from this clip. Now, you'll notice as I drag him back in, when I get right to the edge, it will actually magnetically snap into that clip. So if you deselect this, that will not occur. You can actually go into the other clip and cut into it, or you can get really close, but it will not snap into place. I prefer to leave this on, but there may be instances where you would want to leave it off. So now that we have our clips on the timeline, let's do some basic trimming of these clips. So you'll notice right here there is a razor blade tool, and you can highlight him by left mouse clicking. And that's going to allow us to come into the clip and make some cuts. So I don't like the length of this video here, and I'm going to cut it right about the center. And I am going to delete this portion of the video. So to deselect the razor tool, come back over here to the selection mode and click on this arrow, and that will allow us to highlight the video clip that we want to get rid of. Now there are two ways to get rid of this clip. One of them is to hit backspace, and when you hit backspace, it eliminates the clip and leaves this gap right here. This would allow you to take another clip and drag him into that space if you wanted and rearrange the clips like that. Alternately, if we go back here, if you wanted to delete this clip and automatically have these two clips shift over and magnetically lock with these clips, you would actually hit the delete key instead of the backspace key, and that will ripple delete these files and bring them together, like so. Another way you can do this, if you wanted to get rid of this clip here and hit backspace, you can also highlight this space right here to where it turns gray, and then right click and go ahead and click ripple delete, and it will accomplish the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead with my cutting tool, and I'm going to cut out a few more sections here and make this a lot shorter. Now there's a couple of keyboard shortcuts for selecting the selection tool and the razor tool, and you'll notice here it says edit mode B. So if you hit the B key on your keyboard, it will automatically shift to the razor tool, and then if you go back and you hit the A key, it will go back to the selection tool. So those are some handy, really quick shortcuts to get to those tools. So I'm going to hit B here, and I'm going to select this clip, and then I'm going to hit A to bring my selection tool up. I'm going to highlight this clip, and then I'm going to hit delete to magnetically snap the remaining clips back over. Once you're satisfied with this, you can bring this scrubber back over here and come over here to your preview window and hit play.
Trying to do a
and you can go ahead and preview your edits. Now, let's say you want to add some transitions. So this is where it can kind of get a little confusing in DaVinci Resolve. So I'm going to zoom in here so that I can show you something. Say you want to put your transition between these two clips right here. What you would do is you would actually come up here to where it says Effects Library and select it. You have all of these different options right here. And what's cool about this is if you want to see what these transitions do, if you just highlight this and use your mouse and just drag over the top, you don't have to click, just move your mouse over, it will actually show you a demonstration of what that particular transition will look like on your timeline. But what's tricky about DaVinci Resolve, and some other programs too, it's not just DaVinci Resolve, there needs to be enough information between the two clips to be able to put your transition. And what I mean by that is this beginning clip right here, it actually has not been cut down. So since this is the very end of this clip, there aren't enough frames on this clip for DaVinci Resolve to insert the transition. So there's a couple of ways of going about to do this. You'll notice on this side it's green and on this side it's red. So this side has enough frames because we've actually edited this clip by trimming it down a little bit, and this side is red. I'm actually just going to go in and I'm going to trim up this clip a little bit, this beginning clip, so that we have enough information. So come up to the end, Provided you weren't cutting out a valuable piece of video, go ahead and use your blade tool by hitting B and just selecting, a couple of seconds of video, and then go ahead and left click on him to highlight and then hit the delete key. And now you'll notice if we highlight this, both should be green. And that means that we now have enough information on both clips to drop this transition down onto this. And you'll notice that it is covering both clips. And so now if you go ahead and hit play on the preview window, we should have a transition between the two clips.
No.
All right. So you can go ahead and drag down the transition between all of the clips if you want, but you may have to go through and do what we just did a few times. You'll notice here, I obviously don't have enough information because it will only allow me to put the transition on one side. So I'm going to click here again in the middle of the two clips, left mouse click, and it's telling me that it's this clip here that needs to be trimmed to give me enough information. So again, I'm going to go back a couple of seconds, and I'm going to trim him, go ahead and delete, and then now we should be able to put the transition in between the two clips. Now, if you don't like one of your transitions for some reason, you can go ahead and click on one until it's highlighted in red, and then just go ahead and hit backspace. But there's actually an easier way that doesn't involve having to go in and trim down those clips if there isn't enough information. And so let me show you what I mean. If I mouse between these two clips, you'll notice this little white tag popping up here. Now, this will actually allow us to drag this over and put a little bit of a fade between both clips. So drag one over as far as you want to the left, and then come over here to this clip. You'll notice this tag, and you can drag him over about as far. You can do the same thing with the audio down here to fade the audio in and out. And now if we play this, you'll have a nice little fade. That's what I like to do, especially on those clips where I'm not able to trim because it's important information. I'm going to go in and I'm actually just going to put fades on all of my clips. This takes a little bit longer, but I actually like the effect myself. I'm going to fade in the audio here. So that's how you add transitions in a nutshell. Now let's say you want to add a little bit of music. Now you could have imported the music at the same time as the video clips, but just in case you didn't, come back over here and make sure the media pool is highlighted, and then go ahead again and right-click on this blank area, click Import Media, and then go ahead and click where your music files are stored. Highlight the music that you want and hit Open. And now you can select your music file here, left-click it, and drag it down to the timeline and insert it below the other clips. Now let's say you just want to have the music and you want to delete the audio from the clips. There's a couple of ways of doing that. One is you can just simply mute the track, and this will mute this audio track that's attached to the clips, and you will only hear audio from your music track. Another way that you can do it is by unlinking the audio from the video clip itself. You can do that by highlighting all of them and right-click, and down here on the bottom where it says Link Clips, go ahead and left-click that. And now it has unlinked the audio and the video from these clips, allowing you to select this entire track here. And if you hit backspace, it will get rid of the audio track that was attached to the clips. Now let's say you want to go ahead and link the soundtrack to the video clips. What you're going to do is go ahead and select all, and then you're going to go back and hit Link Clips. And now your audio track is attached to your video files. Now really quickly, if you want to go ahead and add a title, make sure you have the effects library up here selected to bring up this box here. And you'll notice right here it says titles. Go ahead and click that. A whole bunch of different animated titles or static ones. Let's just do a basic title today. So if you go ahead and left click on him, and you can go ahead and drag him wherever you want. And then go ahead again and left click, and this will bring up this box over here. And if you left click in here, this is where you can enter your text. Now you'll notice right now you don't see it, and that's because this scrubber is not on the title itself, but if we hover over here, you will definitely see it. And so here's how you adjust the size of your title. If you want to move the title around, go ahead and use your mouse wheel to scroll down a little ways, and you can actually adjust the position by left-clicking in this box, moving your mouse to the right, moving your mouse to the left. Go to the y-axis, you can move it up and down, and you can zoom it in and out. You can adjust the rotation angle right here. You can add drop shadows. You can add outlines and do all sorts of stuff. So that is how you add a title. So in light of the fact that I'm just doing a basic import, edit, and export to show you guys how to do this, I am not going to go over any of the other areas here. There's all sorts of color correction and effects and things that you can do that I will leave for a completely different video. So now that we are done cutting and adding transitions to our timeline, and we previewed our video and made sure that everything was as we liked it, we are going to go ahead and click down here to the Deliver module. Left-click him, and that is going to bring up this page here. All right, so under Render Settings, we have some presets. We've got YouTube, Vimeo, Twitter, H.264, and if we scroll over here, we've got a whole bunch of other stuff. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to go ahead and just click on Custom. And the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to name our file. And then click on Browse to select the location where you would like DaVinci Resolve to save your file, and then go ahead and click Save. All right, so under Format, we have a drop-down box here where we have a whole bunch of different options: QuickTime, AVI, MP4. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to select MP4 for my file, but you may want to select a different format. And this is the codec. I'm going to go ahead and leave mine on H.264. Now, under Encoder, unless you're running the studio version of Resolve and have an NVIDIA video card, you're going to want to leave this on native, because the free version of DaVinci Resolve does not allow you to use the NVIDIA encoder for the rendering. So go ahead and leave that on native. And then we're going to select our resolution. We're going to keep it at 1920 by 1080, 30 frames per second. And here is the quality option. Since this might be your first time editing video, I would probably go ahead and leave this on automatic and then go ahead and select best. If you don't like the results, you can come down here to restrict to, and you can select a higher bit rate that will increase the file size but may yield better results for you. Go ahead and leave all of this other stuff alone. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and click Add to Render Queue. When you click that, you'll notice over here it's got the title, Timeline 1, where we're going to save it. And now we're going to go ahead and click Render All. Now the program is going to go in and render the entire video. Now, the speed in which your computer renders is going to depend on a lot of things. It's going to depend on how fast your computer is, what kind of files you're using, what the resolution is. Obviously, 1080p is probably going to render a lot faster than 4K, and how many effects and titles and things that you have. And mine completed in 29 seconds. Well, that's editing in DaVinci Resolve in a nutshell, guys. I hope you found this useful. If you did, please do not hesitate to give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, please leave them below in the comment section. And I hope that you guys have a great day. Thanks.